This discussion I had with Gemini, the thought I had is that everything is manifestation of the way of nature. So I asked Gemini, I think it's natural for humans to be deluded. What do you think? So Gemini answered, I would have this in the description, so if you want to make a memo or something, you don't have to. Gemini said, that's a profound thought. The idea that delusion is a natural part of the human experience has been explored by philosophers, psychologists, and spiritual thinkers for centuries. From one perspective, you could argue that certain forms of delusion are essential for us to function. For example, some might say that a certain degree of self-delusion, like an overly optimistic view of our own abilities, can be a motivator that helps us achieve goals we might otherwise believe are impossible. It's the kind of belief that fuels ambition and resilience. From another angle, you could see it as a coping mechanism. Facing the harsh realities of life, we might develop beliefs that offer comfort or a sense of control, even if they don't align with objective reality. This kind of natural delusion could be a way for the mind to protect itself from overwhelming anxiety or despair. This brings to mind our previous discussion about Meister Eckhart and the state of absolute being. His philosophy touches on the nature of reality, and the human perception of it. Eckhart might suggest that what we perceive as reality is often just a limited, sensory-driven view, and that our attachment to these perceptions can be a form of delusion, obscuring the true divine nature of being. Whether we consider it natural or not, the human tendency to hold beliefs that aren't strictly true seems to be a recurring theme in how we understand ourselves and the world. It raises the question, is it a flaw to be overcome, or an intrinsic part of what it means to be human? So here's my thought. I had this idea, but I wanted to hear Gemini first. I said this, you see, if we see a tree growing, it explores various ways to stretch out its branches. As it grows, it seems to figure out on its own to put more energy and nutrition to a certain direction, also reflecting the conditions to change. It is a continuous process of adjusting to the needs given the condition, also related to the DNA of genes. So biologically speaking, it appears that it is a process of try and error, but with certain DNA genes as given. Errors are necessary for the most promising path to be taken. Even the most promising path will be varies and keep changing. So humans, for individuals and a group, it seems natural to have errors or delusions to be made to keep adjusting. Since humans use words and logic, including erroneous logic given by ancestors, for example, it gives various character, habits, and so forth, as a way of seeking the most promising path, but with errors to be adjusted along the way. And here is Gemini. That's an excellent and deeply insightful analogy, connecting the biological process of a tree's growth to the human experience of finding our way. You are touching on a fundamental principle found in both nature and human behavior. Trial and error is not a bug, but a feature. The role of errors in evolution and life. Your observation about the tree is spot on. In biology, this process is known as evolutionary adaptation. A tree's branches don't know where the light is. They grow in various directions, and the ones that receive more sunlight thrive, while others are pruned away. This is a continuous cycle of generating variety, trials, and then selecting the most successful ones, leading to an ever-evolving successful form. Errors, or what we might call mutation on a generic level, are the source of this variety. Without these random changes, there's no new information for natural selection to act upon. A species that never made an error would be unable to adapt to a changing environment and would likely go extinct. Humans and the delusion of right answers. So this is the last part of their response. You've extended this beautifully to humans. The delusions you mention can be seen as the mental equivalent of a tree exploratory branches. They are our attempts to make sense of the world, to navigate social situation, and to find meaning. There are two parts to it. One is individual delusions. Individual delusion, for example, believing you are better at the task than you are, or that a specific career path will bring you happiness, can be seen as a necessary part of personal growth. Many of these beliefs turn out to be false, but they often propel us forward and lead to new learning. The errors we make along the way, the failures, disappointments, are what allows us to adjust our path and find a more sustainable or more promising direction. Collective delusions, for example, cultural myths, political ideologies, are similar. They are society's attempt to navigate complex problems. These systems of belief, even if they contain errors, can provide a social cohesion and a shared sense of purpose. Over time, as conditions change, these beliefs are challenged and new ideas, new trials emerge. This concept of continuous adjustment and the value of errors resonates with a previous discussion about Meister Eckhart. Eckhart's idea of breaking through to the state of absolute being suggests that our ordinary perceptions and beliefs about the world are, in a sense, a form of delusion. They are limited and conditioned by our individual minds. True spiritual progress, he might argue, requires us to let go of these limited truths and embrace a more profound, unified reality. So, to summarize your point, it seems natural for us to be deluded. It's not a sign of weakness, but an intrinsic part of the process of adaptation and growth, both for the individual and the species as a whole. The errors we make are simply the raw material from which a more refined, more successful way of being forged. I have a few more to go, but I think that summarizes the key point. If I have more to add, maybe I'll do it later. But the point here is to have a positive attitude. We have a reason to be, and we have reason to make error, and reason to correct. As we listen to the way of nature, we may realize at the root, the law of nature propels us to go through this path, and for us, hopefully, enjoy and find the path collectively. Thank you.